Well, hi. Today is February 25th, 2025. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. Coming up in just a bit, we are going to have an extended conversation with a fascinating man. His name is Dala Alphonso, and he is the new president and CEO of the AIM Institute. And he is going to give us some wonderful insights into what's going on at the AIM Institute and also, what it takes to get into the tech world and how the AIM Institute can help you. So that is still coming up in just a bit. I also wanted to continue our conversation this week about podcasting and answering some of your questions. Another question that I get frequently is, what kind of microphone should I use? Now, this particular microphone that I have is a Heil PR40. That's Heil PR40. And I really like the sound of this microphone. Also in the studio, I have a Shure microphone. This is an MV7X, which the X means it's for an XLR cable. And that means it's not what's known as plug and play. With a plug-and-play microphone, it's a USB compatible, and you can plug it straight into your computer. This one that I have is designed to plug into an interface, so that is something that I need. I can't go directly into the computer. Both of these are known as dynamic microphones. And dynamic microphones are best if you don't have a 100% studio setting, meaning it's not soundproof, you're going to get some external noise and that kind of thing. Now, if you do have that type of space, then I would strongly consider a condenser microphone. A condenser microphone is a little bit higher quality. It's much more sensitive, so it's going to hear everything, but it also has a very, very rich sound. And microphones, like anything else, you can spend what you want to spend on them. I personally wouldn't go as high as the $2,500 microphone range, and yes, they do have those. This particular one that I have here, last time I checked, it retails for about $350. These particular Shure microphones are in the 175 to 180 range. If you want to upgrade to the Shure microphone that, say, Joe Rogan uses, that's an SM7B, and those retail pretty consistently for around $400. So you've got a lot of choices there. Stay away from the really cheap USB microphones that you can get for 40 or 50 bucks. They're not going to sound good. Your voice is not going to sound good, and they're going to pick up a lot of external noise, pretty much anything at all that might be going on. I used to record audiobooks, and I had a microphone that was not set at all for the type of space that I had, and it would even hear when the refrigerator kicked on. That's how sensitive it was. Yeah, and that did not work at all. So had to make a switch, and that's one of the reasons why I prefer to go with dynamic microphones now. If you have any questions at all, please feel free, reach out, toddstuder@gmail.com. I would love to spread the information on to you. Spiral of Accountability. This is a book that is written by local author Carol Horner. And Spiral of Accountability, she takes the dynamic of human self-talk and human interactions, and she breaks everything down into a visual representation. A lot of us are visual learners, and this is a wonderful way to be able to see this, and it allows the readers to identify, name, and understand what's going on with them and with the people around them. And then it shows a pathway toward improving their reactions. Pick up a copy of spiralofaccountability.com at spiralofaccountability.com. That is her website. And then while you're there, you can learn about how Carol has helped organizations like yours be in sync by defining accountability in a new way. Also, another one of our wonderful sponsors here on Morning Coffee is Just Sue Creative, and she can help you build your business with website design, search engine optimization, content creation, marketing, everything you need to take your company to the next level. Sue Pitts has a passion for small businesses and helping them thrive in a digital world. You know, a great starting point, just visit her website, justsuecreative.com. Schedule a free consultation. It's easy. Click on the free consultation button, and you're on your way. Also, if you want a real-world example of what kind of work she does, go to my website, lushillsmedia.com. She designed it, and it looks great. JustSueCreative.com is the website. A few months ago, AIM Institute named a new president and CEO. His name is Dala Alphonso, and he is joining us on Morning Coffee. Thank you so much for your time. And as I've been doing a little bit of research, you know how the internet is. You can look up all kinds of things on people. you're an incredibly interesting guy, and on a surface level, it's very obvious that AIM got the right person into the role. So congratulations, and thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it, and I hope they got it right.
What have been some of the things that, as you're coming into this new position, and I don't know how familiar you were with AIM before you took on the position, but
Mhm.
what are some of the things that have just been really apparent to you as you've gotten started in this first few months?
Well, that's an excellent question. I have had interactions with AIM before because Omaha has been home for the last 17, 18 years. And in 2019 through 2022, I was the director for application delivery at Omaha Public Power District. And so I was leading a team of engineers, quality assurance, release management, and all the gamut around software development, as it were. And so a lot of my team and leaders had engagements with AIM at that time. So I think that was the first time I had the opportunity to interact with AIM. I had been invited on a couple of occasions, either to speak on the day of a leader in technology with AIM, and I've had the opportunity of even teaching a whole session on future-ready leadership with AIM. So there has been quite a bit of intersection and interaction over the years. So I'm a bit familiar what they did, but not to the depth that I now know. So there is a tremendous opportunity that I think we have going forward. But I think having had that interaction in the past also provided an opportunity to actually see where we can be able to become a better, stronger, more future focused organization that is evolving and transforming with technology at the pace at which it's going.
My own personal experience only goes back maybe 6 months. That's it. That's as far back as it goes. And what I have discovered very quickly about it, and what I am so enthused about what it is that AIM does, is it seems that you're very, very good at uncovering talent that may not have had an opportunity, and also may not even had the knowledge that they had this talent. You're
Mhm.
bringing this to either young people and oftentimes adults, that it's opening up a wide world to them that they
Yeah.
didn't know they had opportunities in.
Yeah. And that is correct. Let me pivot here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you my story. I came to the United States green, literally in the late 90s. And so I asked myself one question: what do I need to do to be legal? How can I contribute to the nation? And then we're just getting ready to switch over into the year 2000, and technology just made sense. And so I decided to spend the last 1400 that I had to attend Micropower Computer Institute in New York, where I learned what's something called Oracle programming, which is kind of like software development.
Mm-hmm.
You learn things like PL SQL and all of that fun stuff. And I remember this moment, Todd. It's as clear as yesterday, where I remember following the instructions that I was giving in that class, and I created my first table. It was like my first program. I was like, what? I mean, I was just like sucked right in. And who knew? Here we are, 20 something years later. I'm doing the same thing and giving back to the same group of individuals that were in similar positions like I was, at that time of my life. But the interesting thing is that AIM does not only serve the underrepresented. We don't only serve individuals who, to your point, have never had the opportunity to truly understand what technology is capable of doing, or even if they had that skill, talent, or capability at all. We're also in the business of empowering adults who actually are in technology but feel like they may have to pivot to a different function within technology. And of course, there are those who have had a career in, be it marketing or be it operations or customer service, that have an interest and probably never even knew they had the talents to get into technology. So just being able to navigate that interest point, that, oh, maybe technology isn't for me. And to be honest with you, the face of technology has evolved so much, especially post COVID, that anybody who does anything or starts any kind of business better understand technology to one form or the other. So it's a very broad spectrum that we're really driving, not just teaching people the basics of technology, but also helping professionals and executives even become better at what they do.
If it wasn't for technology, you and I aren't having this conversation the way that we're having it right now. I had no
Right?
idea. I go back just 2 or 3 years, and I wasn't doing video. I wasn't doing this type. And then suddenly somebody introduced these platforms to me, and it just, wow, it can really happen. And I
Yep.
can see that, back when you found a passion when you took that class that
Hmm.
I'm guessing you realized, okay, this is going to be a long journey. My own was first time I sat in front of a microphone. That was mine. But there are people just like you out there that once you find that passion, it
Yeah.
ceases to your work day is not a drudgery anymore.
No, no, no.
It's something that you look forward to. And it's what I've always said about, broadcasting, radio, this type of thing, whatever I do. The best part of my day is when I'm working. And
That
because I love it so much, and I can
mhm.
see that you have that same passion for what you do.
To be honest with you, once you have a passion for something, it's no longer a profession. It's just something that you do every single day. You wake up, you're excited to get to the grind. And creativity in itself even becomes better. You don't have to be micromanaged. You don't have to be motivated. You can find all of that inspiration internally to deliver the very best products, the very best services, to those that you work with every single day. When I wake up in the morning every day, there are three things that drive me: technology, empowering and equipping people to be successful at what they do, and just being able to see the outcome of all of that on one platform or the other, if be it starting a business or just making a difference in the lives of people around us. So yes, I do agree. There's a clear difference between passion and a profession, and this is all passion, baby.
Well, just the short amount of time in there, do you still feel like you're getting your foundation set with what you're doing here, or do you feel like you're already looking and making the progress and getting on that road for progress that you want to do?
Well, every day is it's one brick at a time for us right now. Now, you have to truly understand that AIM has been around for about 32 years. And during that 32 years, some incredibly amazing things have happened. I've had the privilege to meet with the first CEO, Bob Sweeney, spent a lot of time with Candace, who's kind of like was my mentor for the first month or two while I was here. Actually, I've been here for 2.5 months now. But every day has been progressive. It's been better things, just working forward and making and making tremendous inroads. Now, we have a very clear strategic plan that we're working on that would increase or double our impact in the next 5 years. It sounds ambitious, but it's doable. Why? Because we have the talent, we have the capacity, we have the capability. It's just a matter of executing on that plan that we have. So we've already started looking at all the different areas of what we can do, because to the point, technology has so evolved in the last 5 years, and we have to evolve with it in order to remain relevant and also to stay ahead of the curve. So it's been progressive every single day. We're looking at where do we staff up. We don't want to become everything to everyone. We want to become something, or we want to become someone to somebody. And in order for us to do that, we can't have our hands in every pot and every opportunity that comes our way. We are awesome at some things. And so one of the things that we've started looking at doing, and which I spend a lot of my day doing, is finding opportunities for synergy, looking for opportunities for partnership. Who is so awesome at doing certain things that we shouldn't be doing anymore? And let's just support them so that they can be great. Because at the end of the day, it's all about empowering businesses in the Silicon Prairie. It's all about attracting talent to the heartland. It's all about retaining those talents in the heartland. And what better way for us to do it than technology? So every day has been progressive. I've enjoyed the last 2.5 months I've been here, and I hope I'll be here for the long run.
I just had a conversation the other day with a president of a bank here in Council Bluffs, and we were talking about that very thing, about keeping people here,
Yeah.
keeping the talent. at home, and
Hmm.
in order to do that, a situation has to be created where it is advantageous for them to do that,
Yeah.
and all of the things that they need in order to be able to do that. And Omaha, Council Bluffs, and the rest in the surrounding areas it's really a hub. And there's so much going on already, and so much potential for. I can't even imagine how high it could go.
It can go pretty high. So let me tell you a personal story. 2007 was when I first came to Omaha. And coming to Omaha, I was coming for a personal. I was moving here for what I believed was my purpose or my passion or my drive. And I got hired by a company called Sitel. I believe they're still here in Omaha, to help them with developing and designing. It's called the Oracle e-business suite platform. So they needed to move some legacy forms and reports into this new exciting future focused forward looking platform. And it was supposed to be a 3-year gig, and here we are in 2025, and I'm still living here. you know I remember coming in here, and the plan was I was going to work for this company for 3 years, and 3 months into my role, uh, there was an acquisition, and then Sitel decided to move its headquarters to Nashville. And I had just moved here. My kids had just gotten into school. We just bought a house. I can't just upend and just go. And so I stayed, and that was the first time in my life, Todd, or at least in the first time in my technology career, that I considered a full-time job, because previously I'd just been a consultant, for 7 years. And I just loved it. The problem is that people do not even know what the heartland has to offer. Now, being somebody, this is so funny. Being somebody who lived in New Jersey, working out of New York, it was a whole different culture. So I remembered walking into Wells Fargo, right here in Omaha, and this gentleman just walked up and he opens the door and he says, "Hi, come on in." And to be honest, Todd, I actually looked back thinking he was talking to somebody else. But I noticed that he was talking to me. I was like, okay. And the interesting part of it all was that he wasn't even a bank employee. He was a customer who was just leaving, and I was like, so the concept of Midwest nice was the first experience that I had, and I just said, this would be a great place to raise a family. And here we are. All my kids went to school here, grew up here. Now, of course, everybody's out doing their own thing. But the Midwest, the heartland, the Silicon Prairie is something that people do not even know about. And the way technology has evolved and the future of work, especially around workforce development, requires us to truly help people understand and experience what that Midwest nice really is, irrespective of what their aspirations are. And I think we have a tremendous opportunity to do that. And if we do this right, it's just a matter of time before everybody says, you know what, Nebraska, Council Bluffs, those folks are on the map. Maybe that's the next place to go. So let the Californians know we're coming.
That is so awesome. We wanted to talk about where AIM is headed, and some of the different things that are in place, that you're putting into place, and
Yeah.
what your vision is, say, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, and beyond that. I mean,
Yeah.
where do you see this train headed?
Well, that's an excellent question. Now, in spending time, once I got named as a CEO, the first thing I started to think about was my first 100 days going to look like? What's my first year going to look like? What's the next 5 years going to look like? And we have come up with a vision which we tagged Rebirth to Rebuild. And this is so key because we've got to start thinking about the future with the lenses of not just technology, but also the direction that businesses are going. Because technology is an enabler for business, and technology cannot stand alone. It has to empower something. And so we went as far back as looking at why was AIM created in the first place? What was the premise? What was the what drove the idea to say, hey, let's create this organization, to support businesses? And that is what it was. When the initial research was done, it was all about trying to find out how can businesses thrive? What are the gaps? How can we attract talent? How can we retain talent? And then it became evidence that technology was the missing link. And so that's what AIM does. So we came up with this vision, a roadmap for the next 5 years, which is to rebirth, to rebuild. But the first thing we want to spend all of this year doing is to reconnect, reconnecting back to our mission and our vision, reconnecting back to our stakeholders, reconnecting back to our partners, reconnecting back internally with each other. Because AIM exists to serve. And if we have no clarity, we have no succinct vision that we all are working towards, then we'll be working towards the wrong things. So one of the things that we've clearly defined is that, and I'm pretty sure you can see it right behind me over there,
Yeah.
because that's like that's where I do all my scribbling, is that in the next 5 years, we would want to see our impact, our footprint, and our resources doubled. Today, AIM reaches anywhere from 6 to 8,000 people a year annually. That is, I'm talking about reach. One of the things that we want to start doing is really focus around impact. And that impact has to be evidential. We have to be able to measure that impact in very tangible ways. How many lives are we touching? How are those lives translating into developing our communities economically? How is that changing the lives of families? And we're not just talking about families, we're talking about generations. Because in my case, for example, I came in here as a technologist, but I do understand that the impact and the things that has transformed my life, which this is 25 years later, is going to trickle down not just to my kids, but also because it provides the opportunity for them to go to school, for them to become better with their lives, pursue their careers, and do all those different things that we want to do. So we have a very, very aggressive vision that we want to pursue in the next 5 years, and that is to double our impact, double our reach, double our footprint, and also double our resources. And to be sincere, we can't do that alone, except we do that in very, very intentional strategic partnerships. Currently, we're spending a lot of time revamping every piece of what we do. From our leadership academies, we're rebuilding it out in a way that it becomes relevant, to our code schools, which of course serves not just underrepresented communities, but also high schoolers and those in middle elementary school, however way we can reach, and also all of our adult programs. So we're looking at everything holistically, and also considering other opportunities which could have been bottlenecks that will attract talent into the heartland. So whoever it is that has an interest to partner with us, our doors are open.
I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk just about that because you already have some great partners, and you have.
Yeah.
There's been over the years a tremendous response from the business community, from individuals and organizations, and different places that support everything that AIM is doing. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about those folks. And you mentioned about the Midwest Nice, and we see it in Council Bluffs, we see it in Omaha. This part of the world steps up when it comes to
Yeah.
supporting organizations like yours or other nonprofits or service organizations and things like that. There's a reason so many of them exist, is because the support is there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was at the Tech Awards last fall, and I saw a lot of those businesses that were there, and the excitement and the young people that were coming up and getting the awards. It was
Yeah.
a tremendous night. So, all of that support is invaluable to what's going on with everything at AIM. And but you're talking, we're just going to keep growing that.
Yeah. And that is so key. Um, we cannot do what we do without the support of our communities. And we haven't, and this is just being transparent here, we have tremendous opportunities to do better. Now, first of all, let me just say thank you to all the organizations that have partnered with us, not only with our conferences, things like, you talked about the Tech Awards. We also have things like the Heartland Developers Conference, which is our premier platform for all the software engineering type resources, application development, or whatever it is that we do, with all the platforms that we interact with. But of course, this year, I'm really excited about the fact that we're bringing back one of our flagship conferences, which is called Infotech. We are reimagining it, we're redesigning it, we're rebranding it, and we are going to be launching that come May of this year. And Infotech is a conference, is a technology centered conference for the business. So it's not just for technologists. It is for every function of business, be it marketing, operations, customer, whatever you do, human resources. There is a place for you at Infotech. But to the point that we're making, in order for us to do all of this, that partnership is very, very key. Because no matter how grandiose, no matter how exciting our vision is, if we don't have the resources to make it happen, it's just going to be a pipe dream. And so a big thank you to everyone who's either sponsored us, who's sent a couple of dollars here and there, or be it a couple of thousand or maybe 100,000, whatever it is. But there is no cap to what we hope to achieve as long as we have the means to make it happen. And one of the things that we are trying to do this year, our focus, Todd, is we want to reconnect. And that reconnection is not, we don't want to come across as the only time we engage our community is when someone writes us a check. We're not transactional by any chance. So we want to make sure that folks understand that we're in this for the long haul, we're in this for the long run. And however way you can partner with us, we've not done a great job around connecting with individuals. We've not done a great job connecting with foundations and individual contributors, and even, to be honest, even with the alumni and individuals who've really benefited from the programs that we've delivered in the last 3 decades. So we're truly looking at that, because with all the changes in the policies and the politics, it would have a great impact on us. And we want to get to that point where we do not have limitations, because people have needs. The Heartland needs to grow business-wise. And for that to happen, we need the support of everybody who is willing to be a part of what we do. Because like I said, we have a goal to double our impact in the next 5 years. And that can only happen if we have the resources to back what we do.
It sounds to me that you are combining purposefulness with being passionate.
Absolutely.
And putting those things together in order to advance, and not just for AIM, but it's a benefit for everyone all across the region.
Well, and that's absolutely correct. If you have a business, it doesn't matter if it's a mom and pop shop in the corner of Main Street, or if you have a multi-billion-dollar organization on the west side of town, you need technology. You need technologists. You need tools. And for that to happen, we are smack center in the heart of not just training on the technical competencies, but also offering little things like soft skills. Now, I have conversations with a lot of business leaders and technologists, and I always ask this one question: how can we support you? What are your biggest pain points? Now, here's the one thing I can guarantee you, Todd. If we don't have the capability in-house, if we don't have the capacity or even the know-how to provide what you need, or we don't know someone who can be able to support you to succeed, we will figure it out. And that is the one commitment that I am willing to make, because it's all about promoting the heartland. It's all about making sure that businesses succeed. And for that to happen, we truly have to be creative about how we go about solving for problems. And yes, at the end of the day, it's just going to be a win-win if, we're able to put the heartland on the map when it comes to technology.
I am fascinated when it comes to technology. You talked about getting in, back in the late 90s, and where it has come in the meantime since then.
Yeah.
And then you look at that same amount of time moving forward, where's it going to go? That makes my head spin, because I have no idea what could be capable. I had no idea that, we would all be walking around with these mega computers in our pockets that have more power than everything that was in my school growing up, just condensed into one tiny little thing, and have the entire world at my fingertips at any point that I want it to. So where's it going? And I'm curious that how on top of things does AIM need to stay on that cutting edge versus are you just behind it, or are you along that same path right at that same point?
Well, I would say this, just being full transparency here. I think we are steps behind where we
Mm-hmm.
should be. And that is because technology is evolving at a crazy pace, Todd. Like, you wake up in the morning and what you thought was relevant today is irrelevant tomorrow, or it has evolved to a large degree. And it's constantly changing. And so for us to remain at the cusp or at the cutting edge of where technology is going, we've got to be aware. And not just being aware, but we also have to be active contributors to where it's going, meaning that one of the things that I'm truly hoping we could do in the next few years is to really get into more into that R&D space where we are actually contributing actively to the future of technology. Now, think about this. My first management role, because I started out, like I said, I was a software engineer as a developer. I did a lot of work, which included a lot of data. And then I remembered the first time my leader then said, "Hey, I have this great guy who's tremendous at what he does," because I literally I got hired to do a job, Todd, and I was so good at it, and to the point where I literally was almost taking myself out of my job because I had nothing more to do because we automated everything. And so my boss was like, "What do I do with him? Maybe we should allow him to go build a business intelligence team." And that was my first management role right here in Omaha at Lincoln Financial Group. So having done that, there was all this excitement around, reporting and analytics, around predictive decision making models and all of that fun stuff. Then it all became about data and data warehouses, and then it became all about big data. And but today everybody's talking about artificial intelligence and how that is shaping the future, not only increasing and improving processes, but also being able to increase efficiencies and in everything that we do. Now, when you think about it that way, to your point, or in Dallas' crazy head, sometimes I think about the picture of maybe we need to have a technology museum right here in the heartland that allows you to walk from one end of what
Wow.
a RAM used to look like,
Mm-hmm.
or what technology used to look like, be it a phone or be it a computer. What did it look like 20, 30 years ago versus what it looks like today? What's that going to look like in the next 5, 10 years? Those are some of the ideas we're playing with. But, it's moving so fast that we have to be a part of that journey, and I believe that not just AIM, I'm truly just being open here that there is some amazing work that is going on in the heartland. It's just a matter of providing the platform where we can truly have synergy, where we can have clarity of purpose, drive, determination, vision, and working collectively. Because as an organization, we can impact 10,000 lives a year. But if we came together as a collective, two of us can touch 30, 50,000. So it's just a matter of understanding each person's lane, being able to put hands together and just start driving forward. But Todd, we are at a pivotal point where we are about to rewrite the history of what the heartland would look like technology wise if we get the right, players on the table, for lack of better words.
I am imagining that museum, and I'm seeing an old game of Pong connected to an old tube television, maybe a Commodore VIC 21,
I know,
some
right?
old Texas Instruments kind of thing that the buttons were just they had keyboards like they looked like they were on top of a calculator. I remember all of this from when I was a
Yeah.
kid. You brought up artificial intelligence, and this has been
Mm-hmm.
a conversation that we have had on other podcasts that are produced here. And here's where I feel it's at. And you, obviously, much more of an expert. So I wanted to get your opinion on this. AI, for me, uh, people are worried that it's going to take jobs. I don't see it that way because I don't see that AI, especially right now, could take the place of an employee. I use it as a tool. It is something that can get me unstuck. That if I say I need to write a commercial and I'll type into one of the AI programs, write me a 30-second commercial on a tree surgeon, and it'll kick something out.
Hmm.
And if I don't like it, I'll make some changes, and then I can make adjustments from there. It's just a way to get unstuck. It's like a starting point, but it's not. I can't use anything that it gives me as itself, because one thing they have not been able to replicate yet is the human heart and being able to attach a personality into something that's written.
Hmm.
I've read, long articles that were 100% generated by AI, and there's just something missing. That it's like, I'm not feeling what the person's trying to say. Yes, it's English. Yes, it's words that go together, but there's just something missing. And that's what I wonder, is it going to get there? I don't hear artificial. I can pick an artificial voice out in a second, but
Hmm.
will it get there? Is the question. And I just personally don't ever see it getting to the point where it's going to take people's jobs and actually replace a person.
It's never going to be able to replace a person. Because if you think about it, no matter how, even bring this to the context of us as human beings, if you had all the help you need, there's a relationship between a family. It's not going to hug a spouse. It's not going to hug the kids. It's not going to do any of those things that are just so innate to us as human beings. Now, AI is data driven and it provides a lot of capabilities, mostly around improving of efficiencies, providing those frameworks, providing insights, and all of those things that we need to do, because it's just a super hyper machine that is learning with every single interaction. But to everything that we do, in order for us to remain relevant, we must continue to learn. And the future of work is one that we've got to reimagine and rethink how we work. There was a time, if you think about it, there was a time where you do the same things. I remember, be it any industry pick up, if it's aviation or transportation, or if it's the food industry or energy, it's evolved so much. How we work has changed so much. And all of those things have fallout. And the crazy thing is, there was a time where we were hiring 12 people to do a single task. But now one person does the same task without even thinking about it. A time is going to come that just by virtue of evolution, not only, and when I'm talking evolution, I'm talking about the evolution of work now. It's because the more fields and the more opportunities that show up, we do need humans to do that work. So it's the same way where everybody used to do the same task and we had 12 people doing the same thing. But now we have 12 different tasks that need to happen and one person is running it. In the future, it might be 20 different tasks and we'll have 20 people running it. Why? Because AI only provides efficiencies. It's a tool. It's not a replacement for any human. There's the brains behind AI are actually humans. It's humans that created the machines. It's humans that created the data. It's humans that impute all of that information. And it's going to get smarter. It's going to get better because AI cannot automatically do its own thing. It has to depend on that human. It has that human dependency. So for anybody who is really nervous or worried or thinking that, oh, it's going to take all of our work, the only way AI is going to take your job is if you're still stuck in the past and you're not developing and equipping yourself and becoming better at what you do. Because you might just find out that what I do today might just not be my passion. It's going to change. And as long as I am willing to continuously learn, continuously develop myself, improve as an individual and as a person, AI is not going to take your job.
No,
So
and that's how we've all, any conversation I've had, that's exactly how we felt about it. And I'm still learning the ins and outs of just what it's capable of and how it can
absolutely.
benefit and assist me with what it is that I'm doing. And there's a long
Mhm.
way to go with that. So next step then, I mean, what's right directly in front of you right now that said, okay, we have this in over the next month, these are the things that we really need to focus on.
Yeah. So right now, I'm just coming into the organization. I will say this, and don't tell anybody.
Okay,
Um,
I'll keep it quiet.
I am drinking from five different fire hoses, from every direction. And not just because they're relevant, but because they're things that are time sensitive as well. One key area that we're focused on is around workforce development. How do we attract the right talent? How do we upskill? How do we reskill? There's been a lot of things that we've been doing here at AIM and within similar organizations here in the Heartland and in Silicon Prairie, that is going to go away in the next few years. So how do we revamp? How do we ump what we do to make sure that we are actually running at the same velocity and focusing on the right things? One aspect that we're truly focused on is around the concept of skilling, soft skills, leadership skills, because it's not just enough to understand the in and outs of technology. You have to have those interactions, be it around things like communication, negotiations, conflict management. All those are things that are a fundamental part of business, a fundamental part of human interaction, a fundamental part of developing each other and just interacting with each other as human beings anyway. So we are looking at how all of that infuses into what we do. So even right now, as I speak, we spent most of the last couple of weeks working with Bellevue University and some of these partners to say, hey, how can we redevelop? How can we revamp, for example, our leadership academy? How can we make it relevant, not just only for the now, but also in the future? So we're looking to kind of like rebirth and launch some new programs like the Leadership Academy program. We're going to be doing something that is open to not just technologists, but also folks in other functions of the business. Because at the end of the day, our job is to provide platforms where we empower people to do and become the very best versions of themselves. So yes, there's a lot of work we're doing in a lot of different areas, but our focus right now is truly centered around workforce development and empowering the tech community to be able to support businesses wherever possible. So there is a lot of work going on in addition to all the conferences that we're looking to relaunch come the spring of this year.
I am remembering a time, and again, as technology advances, there has been times that I've noticed that something that appears like it is an advancement really isn't. And what jumps out of my mind is in the late '90s, as in the radio industry. Are you familiar with digital audio tape? Yeah, that lasted about a day and a half. and
Right?
and we the station that I was at, we got one of those in, and we were actually using it. And it was shortly after that nope, we've got a completely digital automation system here. We have no need for this anymore. And it was just gone. Just as soon as it came in, it was over with. And I wonder how often that type of thing may still happen. That something which appears is going to be an advancement suddenly just gets blown right out of the water because something else is coming in behind it and just accelerated right past.
And that is a constant. I often say this, that the only constant in technology is change, and that's change in itself is the only constant when you think about technology. There was a time where we used to be very excited about things like mainframes. We're very excited that,
I haven't thought of them. I haven't heard that term in so long. And I didn't even think about it. That, wow, I heard it all the time when I was young.
There are actually a few of them still around, believe it or not. So those dinosaurs are still here somewhere.
Right.
And it's the same thing even with, so taking AI for an example, I keep asking this question. Is AI still going to be relevant in the next 5, 10 years? Or is something going to come and just blow it out of the water? Just like with everything that was a hype, was a point of excitement, a decade ago, 2 decades, 3 decades ago, has now become a fundamental part of our infrastructure. So it's underlying, it's supporting, using mainframes for an example. Can you imagine the excitement when the first mainframe was built? Like, it's kind of like, I mean, whoever came up with that concept goes home and says, honey, guess what? I came up with this amazing idea. And be like, what is it? It's a mainframe. And I mean, it was like everybody was talking about mainframes then. But now, fast forward, decades later, you mentioned mainframe. Hey, try talking to an 18-year-old and talk to them about mainframes. They'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
what? Right?
Yeah.
So the same thing. Or you pick up a flip phone. Do you remember when the flip phone first came out?
Oh, yeah, I had one.
You were the coolest thing. It could fit
Mm-hmm.
in your pocket. You
Oh, it
know,
felt like I was in Star Trek. It just flip it up with my phone or my thumb, and yeah.
right? So there was a lot of excitement about some of these things. But with everything technology, it evolves. And so if we ever got to a point where we pitched our tent around a specific mile marker on the technology journey, it's a very, it's a mistake. It's a very lethal position to be in. So we are kind of like thinking about this with an open mind that where is it going next? And not just where is it going next, which is where I talked about earlier about the concept of making sure we have some kind of an R&D piece to what we do, which is being active contributors to the future of technology, getting involved in some of that research, bringing out some of those white papers, because this generation has some tremendous ideas. How can we engage all of that? Because no matter how much we want to build the future is also prefixed by the past. So we need to understand the entire spectrum from end to end in order for us to be successful. Now, I don't know what that future is going to look like tomorrow, but I know that what we have in 2025 is most likely going to be relevant by 2030.
Before we wrap up, Dala, I want to ask you about the staff that you have now. I know that all of these things that you're doing you can't do it by yourself.
At
So,
all.
so all of these folks that you have in place that are doing the work right now, what is their reaction and response been as you have been bringing some of these visions to them?
Well, it's not a one-man show, I can tell you that. First of all, I want to say we have some of the most passionate people working for this organization today. Selfless, committed, driven, determined, just sold out to the vision. And they don't do it day in and day out just because of a paycheck. They do it because they truly believe in the vision. So to be very honest, I feel blessed as a CEO coming in and inheriting an amazing group of individuals who are passionate about what they do. They have some tremendous ideas. And everybody also understands that we are at a pivotal point in our journey and we have to do things differently. Now, one thing that I have benefited from is just being able to bounce ideas off of some of my executives, some of my leaders, the directors. They're out in the fields on a daily basis. They understand the heartbeat of our generation, be it the youth or adults, or if it is kids who have working with our tech navigators to understand how it is that technology needs to evolve and how it is being used today, be it at home, at work, or just interacting with a cell phone or whatever it is. How do we identify the right talent? All of that is only possible because we have some of the hardest working, committed, driven, passionate people that are part of this team. There's a high degree of excitement, not just because I think apart from the first CEO, Bob Sweeney, who was a technologist, I believe he was a CIO. He was a CIO at Farm Credit when he was hired to found the organization and lead it. I do believe that in the last 30 years, I happen to be the next person who has a core technology background, which means I understand the ins and the outs of what the technology needs are, at least from my little exposure and experience as a technology leader. So the team is really, really excited about that, and truly committed. And I will be very sincere with you. I, I would rather have these folks. I would rather be working with these folks than working with anybody else.
That's a wonderful testament to them, and also a wonderful testament to you as their leader to recognize that in them.
Yes, sir.
He is Dal Alphonso, and he is the president and CEO of AIM Institute. We will be passing along information as Infotech gets closer and letting folks know all the details about that. The website is aiminstitute.org, and you can learn all about how you can get involved with your business or organization if you would like to, if any of what we've talked about today instills any kind of passion in you. Dala, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for to repeat myself again because I use crutch words, your passion about what it is that you do. And I'm really looking forward to all of the exciting things that are going to be happening there.
I truly appreciate it, Todd. It's such an honor being here, and I'll be more than happy to come back and share a little bit more about what we do.
We welcome you anytime. Didn't I tell you what a great conversation with Dala? Such a fascinating man, and I'm looking forward to speaking with him again coming up very soon here on Morning Coffee. You know, since 1870, Avila Bank's been providing Iowans with high-quality financial products and services to fit their needs. You know, whether it's a loan or maybe you need to start a new business account, save money for a trip, or maybe you're just looking to open a personal checking account, Avila's qualified bankers can help you with all of that and a whole lot more. Visit avila.bank.com to learn more. And the Best Wrestler in Council Bluffs has a 20-day camp that's coming up in June. Space is limited. 50 wrestlers will have the opportunity to practice 51 times over the course of 20 days with an Olympian and Olympic coach, as well as a world champion and many others who are all ready to take you to the next level. Visit thebestwrestler.com to reserve your wrestler spot. The event is in Council Bluffs, June 2nd through the 22nd. Act now and receive an additional 25% off. Again, go to that website, thebestwrestler.com. More wonderful warm weather is ahead of us this week in the Council Bluffs area. I had an opportunity to get out and do a little hiking yesterday, and I am looking forward to doing even more tonight. And after we finish up here in the studio, yeah, I'm going to get outside and do a little walking around. It's such a beautiful, beautiful time of the year and a little warmer than usual. So I think we all need to take advantage of it. That's going to wrap things up on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again back here tomorrow morning. My name's Todd Studer. Have a wonderful day.